Hello. What's going on, everybody? It's Tyllen here with the Uniswap Foundation, and I'm super stoked to be introducing everybody to the V4 template. Now, if you've been a mainstay in the Uniswap hooks community, you're probably already familiar with the V4 template created by Saucepoint. It's a great resource for anybody wanting to get started with building hooks, experimenting, testing, and designing out their own solutions to their own hook contracts. With that said, there are some new exciting features that we've added to this template that we want to share with everybody, and we want to introduce you to this repo and exactly just how powerful it is. Now, this is just the first video of us introducing this template to you. In additional videos, we'll go over how certain scripts work, give you supplementary content to help you build out the hooks and test them as you need. That way, we're making sure that you're getting the best experience building on top of Uniswap, and especially on top of the brand new awesome Uniswap V4. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this repo and see exactly what it's about. The way that this repository is structured is it's got for you right off the bat a hook contract. Now, if you're new to Uniswap, you might be thinking, what's a hook contract? If you're new to Uniswap totally, maybe you don't know how the Uniswap works, but in simple terms, Uniswap has pools that have liquidity in them. And basically what hooks allow you to do is program these pools so that on certain actions, when certain actions happen, there are triggers called hooks that then call other functions to happen as that's going on. It's super mind-blowing for DeFi, it's great for the entire industry, and more importantly, it's great for developers because it's about to enable a ton of new ways to build that hasn't been really explored before on Uniswap. So what we do is we provide you a simple hook contract called a counter contract, which is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, whenever an action occurs, such as a swap or a position being modified, that counter gets triggered whenever one of these actions happens, and then it just adds on to an arbitrary number showing that as these actions are occurring, that other functions are being triggered so that they can be called when this happens. Super cool, super powerful, and a super simple way to explain a complex item. Now, we know your hooks are going to be a lot more complex and sophisticated than that because we've already seen it. For someone just getting started off or for wanting to hack on a contract, this is a great place to start. Now we've also got our test templates, which go through testing and showing you how it works when it's first spun up. Super easy, super straightforward, and it's something that you can add on to and build on your own tests. In addition to tests, we've also got scripts. Scripts that allow you to actually test out and interact with the pool and the hook contract that you're deploying. Super sweet. We've made sure that these scripts are well ironed out and that they run and work seamlessly so that you don't have to spend all your time debugging and figuring out how to make these calls. We've got scripts that allow you to deploy hooks, that allow you to create liquidity pools on V4, that allow you to add liquidity onto pools on V4, and that let you swap. We're going to keep on expanding to this list of scripts, but what we have right now is more than sufficient for you to get started and to get testing. And that's not all. We also deployed we've deployed this on Gorrelli testnet so that it's super easy for you to use a live testnet and to start building with Uniswap V4. All of the scripts are made for Gorrelli and for working with it. Now, Gorrelli isn't the only testnet we have. We have uniswaphooks.com where you can see where we've deployed versions of the V4 contract on there. Something to keep in mind is that V4 is still in development. So we're going to be seeing new iterations of different smart contracts that we'll be deploying on these testnets until V4 is ready to go live on mainnet. Until then, we'll keep updating all of the contracts and the contracts that we're deployed to, and we'll keep editing this code base so that you guys don't have to worry about it and that it's all set and ready for you. Also, this is using Foundry. If you're not familiar with Foundry, super straightforward, super easy to use. If you are familiar with Foundry, you know how easy it is to use. And basically, we also give you a lot of things if you're new to it on how to get started super quickly. So it's all included in this template. Now, as we go down, we'll see we've got local development. If maybe you don't want to work on Gorrelli, you want to use a local, deployment of V4, this is how you would go about. We also have the code and the scripts ready for you to deploy it. So all you have to do is run this and you'll be able to deploy V4 on a local Anvil network. And then that way you could start messing around with it locally as well. For those of you that want to use Gorrelli, we have all the Gorrelli information here, where the contracts are deployed to, the relevant contracts that you'll need. As we go on with the other videos that we have in this segment, we're going to see how each of these contracts are necessary. But for the time being, it's good for you just to know that they're here. And as we mentioned, as we keep updating the contract with the new versions of the V4 on testnets, we'll keep updating these addresses as well. And here we also provide you with scripts that you can use to actually deploy your hook contracts to do other items as well. This is where you'll need to have your own RPC URL. I recommend Infura if you want to go and just use one. I know there are, to get your own RPC. I know there are other good ones as well. Use whichever one you feel comfortable with, as well as including your private key in this script so that when you run it on your terminal, it all runs and hooks up to Gorrelli. Didn't include my private key here for obvious reasons. Now, last thing is, as you're deploying here, we know that V4 is still being built out. So one of the fun things about it being built out is there isn't really any liquidity in the pools on the testnet because the contracts keep changing because we're working with all of that. So what we've done is we've provided you with mock token contracts. Basically, we've got a mock Uni and a mock USDC. We have the contracts built into the template. These are the scripts to run these contracts so that they can be deployed. You'll get 1 million of each token in your wallets, which are more than enough to go and start testing with Uniswap V4. So you've got these ready to go. You've got your scripts. You've got your contracts. These are basically the essential things you need to know and to get started with testing and building on top of Uniswap V4. Before I go, I did want to mention some troubleshooting items of some errors that people might get. We've seen this before. I've experienced it too, where sometimes when you do forge install in this case, it might give you a permission denied error. We've tried to fix it. We keep trying to fix it, but it might not be in our control right here. So how you do and how you solve this is basically you need to add an SSH key to your GitHub account. These steps right here are they're pretty robust in getting you into how you have to actually figure out solve this. Once you add the SSH key to your GitHub, before you know it, you'll be building hooks. Had to put a pun in there. And yeah, there are other troubleshooting items here, but for the most part, this shouldn't be an issue. And essentially, this is our V4 template. I wanted to give you guys an overview on just the basics of it before we dive into code so that you guys know how it's structured and how we're thinking about it and how we're planning about it for the future. It's a great resource, especially if you're someone that's getting new to Uniswap V4, or if you do have a hook in mind and you want to start testing it and you want to start building real quick. This is the place to go. Now, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Please watch the other videos about us diving into the code and actually going through deploying a hook contract, adding that hook contract to a pool, and deploying that pool live on not live on Uniswap V4, but on the Uniswap V4 testnet. Thank you guys for listening, and hope to see you all soon building on Uniswap V4. Thank you.